Nick Duran here with Tattoo University, and today I'm going to talk about reading tattoos. When I talk about reading a tattoo, I'm not talking about reading someone's script. I'm actually talking about looking at a tattoo that you have done and seeing where you can make improvements on it. I can look at a tattoo and see where the mistakes are. And a lot of times you guys send me tattoos, pictures of tattoos, and I can just tell you right away that it's either this problem or that problem by reading the tattoo. You know, I see a lot of the same stuff over and over again, so I've kind of gotten used to doing this, and this is what I do when you guys send me stuff. I look at it and I can see where you made mistakes and where you can make corrections. I don't believe when you first learn how to tattoo that you should actually be tattooing on people. You should do these practice exercises first, and you should work on your art skills. Your art skills will get you a lot further than picking up a tattoo machine that you don't know how to use and chewing somebody up with it. You need to learn from every tattoo you do and improve. You should do a tattoo, look at it, read that tattoo, see where you can make improvements, and then do your next tattoo. But before you even get into that process, you should learn how to draw. So what you want to do is look at your tattoos once they are healed. And they will tell you where you have made your mistakes. No matter how much you learn about tattooing, if you don't have a machine that is tuned correctly, you're going to get poor results. So this is a major thing, especially with coil machines. People just buy machines and they don't realize they need to be tuned. So if they can't tune a machine, sometimes they'll go to a rotary machine and use that, because rotary machines are set up differently to where you don't need to tune them. Make sure that you have your tattoo machine tuned. The way you solve this problem is learn how to tune your machine, or send them to somebody who knows how to tune machines and get them tuned. You can switch machines to a machine that might not need to be tuned, like a rotary for example, or you can buy from an experienced builder who can build the machines to your specifications, or they know you're a beginner so they'll build a machine for you. And if you're an experienced artist and you can tell them exactly what you need, they can build it to your specifications. So this will take care of this problem right here. Now another problem is causing too much damage and chewing up somebody's skin. A lot of the times it might look like you're having another problem, when really it just comes back to your machine being tuned incorrectly. So really this is the first thing that you need to make sure you have out of the way, and that's having the proper equipment and having it tuned the way it should be. Or else it might look like you're doing some of these other problems when really it comes down to the equipment you're using. So too much damage. When your skin heals from a tattoo, you shouldn't be able to feel it. It should just feel like skin. Your skin should just be flat, normal. And once it heals up, all your little hair will grow back, and all the color and everything in your tattoo will still be there. If you do too much damage, your skin will be raised up in the areas where you've been tattooed. This is extra scar tissue. You have damaged this area of the skin enough to where it is raised up. And you can actually read this tattoo like bread. So you are doing too much damage if this is happening. The tattoo ink should really just be under the skin, the pigment, under the skin, but the skin should not be damaged. The pigment should be there, minus the scar tissue. And that is how you know you are tattooing correctly, when you do a lot of damage, the tattoo heals poorly. When you tattoo correctly, it will heal nice and bright. The skin will just heal over that pigment and you'll have a nice bright tattoo. If you damage the skin, what you can also do too is this skin will die out. All this skin will be dead, chewed up, turned into hamburger meat. And what's going to happen is when this tissue underneath heals, you're going to have a blank spot because this is all going to fall out. And you're going to have a tattoo with a blank spot because that area was chewed up so much that the whole area just died out. So if I see this, a tattoo with little white blank areas that look scabby, then you did too much damage. If I see raised tattoos, you did too much damage. A lot of times the misconception is that you need your liner to run really, really fast. So you're running your liner as fast as you can. And you have that thing cranked up. And every tattoo you get is like braille, it's raised up. You're going too fast. You need to tune that machine so it runs slower, or you need to go with a slower machine, or you need to move your hands quicker. But fast isn't always better. I prefer quality over quantity. What's the point of going really fast if your tattoo looks jacked up? So you might want to slow that down and see if your tattoos aren't raised up and if they heal better and look brighter because you haven't damaged that area. Another issue could be your hand speed is too slow. And that is your machine's probably running at the right speed, but you just stay in this area for so long that the needle just kind of chews up that area. You're not moving along quick enough. You're kind of staying put and just letting that needle just chew it up. You know, you need to kind of move along at a decent pace and get out of that area. You just want to be in there long enough to leave your mark and then get out. Which brings me to the next one. So the next problem with this is just going over the area too many times. Let's say you do a line, but your line wasn't quite dark enough, so you come in, that was number one. You come in and you try to hit it again, that was number two, not quite there. So you come in, you build it up again, so that's like the third time you've hit that line. And then while you're coloring, you come in and you hit this line again, you go over it with your color. You've just gone over this area way too many times. It's not your hand speed, it's not your machine, but it's just you kept going over it and over and over again and messing with this instead of leaving it alone. A lot of times you might do this with lighter colors, like the yellows and the oranges. You don't think they're in there, so you keep going over it. So because of someone's skin tone, you might not see this color, or the blood will mix with this color, and you won't see it until it's healed. And because you don't see it, an inexperienced artist will just keep coming in and trying to fill that in. And that will just kill that area off. That's why you'll get this blank spot here. What you really want to do, an experienced artist will know this. You take your time and you hit that area. And you hit that area good, you pay special attention to filling that area and doing your techniques. And then you leave it alone. No matter what it looks like, you leave it alone because once it's healed, that color will start coming back out. And you'll see that color. And if you focused on your techniques while you're doing that area, you'll just have a nice, solid, blanketed area of yellow instead of some chewed up skin that's missing areas. When this is healing, you will see scar tissue. If you see scar tissue, you've done too much damage. Your tattoo should heal like a sunburn would heal, just flaky. should just flake off a little bit. Another thing that will cause too much damage is your needle depth. And that is your needle depth being too deep. And the opposite of that is your needle depth not being deep enough. So you have to learn where the correct depth is at, and reading your tattoos will kind of let you do this. If you do a tattoo that's not deep enough, it's just going to fall out. Now this is different from the tattoo falling out because it's been damaged too much. If you get too much damage, you'll see this white scab. It's just a scab like scar tissue with no pigment in it. Falling out is that the skin just healed, and where that pigment was at, it fell out. When you do a tattoo, you have several layers of skin. If you go into this top layer of skin, this will heal and eventually fall off in a short period of time. So you need to get into this stable layer right here. And over time your tattoos will fall out a little bit. Some of this will heal. This will come up here and it'll start falling out. That's why your tattoos fade a little bit. But that's normal. If you just put it in here, that's just going to fall right out. It's going to heal and it's going to come off. So then what you get is a ghost image. Instead of being a nice solid dark tattoo, it just looks like the ghost image of what you had before. Now, this, even though it's not ideal, is better than this. I would rather start off with an image that falls out because you can fix that. If you start out going too deep and you damage an area, when you go back in, it's going to be harder to tattoo that area and it's going to hurt more for your client. Once you tattoo that area, you have scar tissue there, and then you're going to come back and you're going to hit it again. You're going to get more scar tissue. And if you're not doing this correctly, you go back and hit it again, you're just going to scar this person up really, really bad. At least if you go too shallow and it falls out, you can come back in and fix it. You're not going to scar this person up. So when you're starting off with your depth, start off a little light. It's better to start off with your needle depth being too shallow. Start off here and move out a little bit more, till you start getting those nice solid lines. What you don't want to do is start way out here and just sink this far into somebody's skin, because then you're going to get too much damage and you're not going to be able to fix that without that scar tissue there. You're immediately going to have scar tissue when that heals. Usually when I'm setting up for a tattoo, I do a test line. And if I start off where I normally start off, and if I'm getting a weak line there, especially with a rotary machine, I'll just inch this out a little bit more and do another test line. Like, okay, it's a little more solid but not quite there, just a little bit more, and then boom, you get a nice solid line. You can do the same thing with a coil machine, but you also have the option of adjusting your voltage. So you either adjust your needle or you adjust your voltage. And sometimes you need to do both, just until you do that little test line there and you're getting the correct depth and your tattoo looks solid. So that brings us to ink problems. And a lot of times, the way your tattoo machine is tuned and the way you're running your tattoo machine will be connected to ink problems. And these are problems like your ink's not running good enough, or maybe it's running too much and making a mess, and things like that, where it just makes your life difficult while you're trying to tattoo and you're not getting the results you need. So with ink problems, you need to make sure that the ink you're using and the machine you're using match up. You also need to make sure that your ink isn't drying out while you're using it, and that it doesn't get hard, so you're doing weird things to it to try to keep it from drying up on you while you're tattooing. And you also need to make sure that it's not watered down. Sometimes you might come in and especially when you're doing shading, and you have a darker area and you got a little lighter, and you keep getting lighter and lighter, and to do this you're dipping in your cup, and by the time you're out here and you got this really light, let's say you're just trying to like get a realistic effect and just feather this out, this is so watered down that once it heals, it's just going to fall out anyways. It's not going to be there. It's non-existent. You'll just see red when you tattoo somebody like this. You'll just get a red look from the skin being irritated. And you don't want to irritate the skin. You don't want this to happen. So make sure that when you are dipping your ink, let's say this is your ink cup, if you're doing a gray wash, you need enough pigment in here to make sure that when you tattoo with it, it's going to stay in there. There's enough pigment to go into the skin. If you water this down too much, it's just going to fall out. Another problem is you'll do a tattoo and it'll actually look like watercolor. And it'll have this faded look, and that's not intentional. You want a nice solid tattoo, but instead it's like a tint. A lot of that problem is really thin inks that don't have a lot of pigment in there. So you're packing it in and it's solid, but it's just not showing up as solid. Star Bright, I have a big issue with this. A lot of times it kind of looks thinned out like you were trying to do a watercolor effect when really you were just filling in that color. So be aware of that. Now a lot of times we want to blame the client when something doesn't heal properly, and we will always want to say it's their fault. And we always put them up at the top here and be like, it's the aftercare, they didn't take care of it correctly. I have tattoos that were done correctly and I took absolutely horrible care of them, and they still healed up, they were still fine. So part of it is the clients, especially if it gets infected. There are some things like allergy issues and things like that that can mess with your tattoos. You know, allergy issues, the client doesn't have control over that. One of the really annoying things though that clients do is picking at the tattoo. Instead of healing, this will actually make it look like you've done too much damage. You'll see these little bare spots, little white scabby spots, because they just scratch at the tattoo and picked at it, and they got a little scab. Instead of leaving it alone, they picked at that and they just keep picking at it until you get damage to that area. You can control a lot of these, but there are some events that you don't have any control over. As an allergic reaction to your tattoo, that tattoo is going to scar up. It might still look okay, but you're going to have that little extra scar tissue in there. Your job as a tattoo artist, especially if you're learning, if you're an apprentice, is to start checking off these issues. First thing you want to do, make sure your machines are tuned and you are using the correct machines. Learn as much as you can about machine setup and get this out of the way. So that's one problem down. If you're doing too much damage, turn your machines down. Get slower running machines. See if that gets rid of that damage. So then you've gotten rid of this problem. If you're not going deep enough, if that tattoo falls out, go a little deeper next time. You've taken care of that problem. Ink problems. Try your different machines. See which one works better. Tune your machines differently. Give it more of a throw. Give it less of a throw. See if that takes care of your ink problem. Don't water your inks down so much. Client problems. Next time they come over and you see they haven't been taking care of their tattoo or they're picking at it, that's their problem. Let them deal with it. No matter what you can do, you can't change somebody else. So, this is their problem. So let them deal with it. If it's an allergy issue, tell them to go see a doctor and get some allergy medicine for that. Get that taken care of. So if you let it keep going, it's going to heal worse. If you get it early and take care of it, take some Benadryl, put some allergy lotion on there, some cortisone, take care of it early, it will heal better. It won't look as bad. If you just leave it alone and just let it continue going, it's going to look a lot worse. Every time you do a tattoo, you want to learn from it. So you do your first tattoo. You have bad line work. So you watch my videos, you learn some lining techniques, you take care of that. So on your next tattoo, you fix your line work, but maybe it falls out. So you didn't go deep enough. So go deeper the next time. Maybe this time you went too deep. So back off again, start off shallow, check your machine, make sure you're not running a crazy amount of volts. Back off your volts, don't tear it up as much. Try the next one. This time it heals good. This time it looks good, it healed up. You don't have any of these problems, but maybe your techniques need some improvement. You have little dots in your line work, you have some lines that maybe didn't go in all the way, and your color isn't packed in there nice and solid, but it healed good, so you took care of these problems. So then you work on your techniques. You keep doing this, and you keep learning with every tattoo. You look at your tattoos when they're done. You look at that tattoo. You wait, you do your first tattoo, wait 2 weeks or more to do your next tattoo. And this way, during this time, you can practice your artwork, you can focus on other things, you can watch videos and learn. So after that 2 weeks of going back to the drawing board and learning, you look at your tattoo and you've realized how to take care of these lines. So you do your next tattoo. You do 2 weeks. Back to the drawing board again. Drawing. Watching videos. Learning. Okay, why did it fall out? My depth. Well, let me go back and learn more about depth. Went too deep. Okay, I need to learn more about voltage. Don't just knock out 5 tattoos all at once. Don't jump down here thinking you're going to get good results. Do a tattoo, learn from it. Do another tattoo, learn from it. Give yourself time to learn more techniques. Every time you do a tattoo, you need to go back and learn more techniques before you do the next tattoo. This is my big issue with practice skins. Healed. This is the word right here. Healed tattoos. A lot of you guys take pictures of your tattoo when it's fresh, and you do that because it looks good, the color's in there, it hasn't faded out yet or fallen out. But you want to look at your tattoos when they're healed. With practice skins, you can't do that because it's never going to heal. And you can beat the crap out of those practice skins and it's not going to get chewed up. If the ink's not going in, you can just keep going over and over and over it again without chewing up the skin. It doesn't act like real skin. Even pig skin, you might get closer to the effect while you're tattooing, but it's already dead. It's never going to do this. You're never going to be able to see the healed result. And this is what you're going for. Tattoos heal, and you want them to look good once they're healed. But with practice skins and things like that, you can do techniques and work on techniques, but don't be fooled because they will never heal. You will never see the end result of that tattoo. You need to start tattooing on real skin after a while. Some people continue with the practice skins for maybe way too long. You need to get into real skin that will heal so you can start learning. Without looking at this process, you won't know what you're doing wrong. You can kind of see it with a finished tattoo, but it's a lot easier to see when it's healed. So you need a tattoo on friends and family. When you first start off, the reason why, because these people are going to stick around. You're going to see these people over and over again. I tell people, sorry, once I tattoo you, I'm going to stare at you all the time because I'm looking at my tattoos. I'm looking at my tattoos now. I'm looking at them when they're healed. I'm looking at them 5 years later once they've had time to heal, and I want to see where I can make improvements. I'm starting to look at my older tattoos and adjust how I'm tattooing now so that 5 years from now, those tattoos still look good. And I will always look at the tattoos I've done and stare at them. People walk in with one of my tattoos, I'm just going to stare at that thing and look for the mistakes so I can see where I can make improvements to my tattooing techniques. If you tattoo somebody, a client, they pay you and run out the door and you never see that tattoo again, you're not going to learn from that. Feel free to stare at your tattoos. I don't care if people get creeped out. I'm going to stare at my tattoos for hours and they're just going to look at me. I'm just staring at their tattoo. That's okay. I did that tattoo and I want to learn from it. And you have my artwork on you, I'm going to stare at you.